Hi, a little introduction about Raga. So Raga is a senior software leader with over 2 decades of extensive industry experience in building, high performance dev and QA teams, delivering highly scalable and business critical platforms in both product and internet companies collaborating across the globe with a keen eye of quality and customer focus. As an ambassador of quality, brought to pride to career in quality engineering, he has worked for technology companies like Sun Microsystems, Yahoo, Intuit, and also he worked as a director of quality and release engineering at Yahoo. Dev and QA architect and a manager and a developer at Sun Microsystems. He's built successfully engineering teams, implemented CI and CD, and coached Scrum teams successfully to adapt Agile and deliver business process with the highest quality.
Hello, greetings to everyone. I Step-in conference in New Delhi on this very useful and interesting topic, the future of career in quality. And it was very well received and appreciated by the engineers. So, and there was a lot of requests to share the material and the video with the team. So I thought it would be in the larger interest of all the engineers in the IT community. I would share this. I would actually recommend watching this with your team. You can watch it alone as well, but watching with the team will actually bring about a good discussion and comment and your feedback, because this helps me to serve you better in future. I would like to share with you my thoughts on the future of career in quality. The reason for choosing this topic, is that the landscape is undergoing a huge change today, and it's very important, I feel, for every quality engineer to understand what is going on and adapt to the changing landscape. I have written a short abstract which I will read out for you just to give you a summary of why I'm planning to share these thoughts with you today. The landscape has changed a lot with agile adoption, continuous delivery, and demand for ever faster releases and go-to-market demands. Okay. More companies are moving to newer technologies and domains like cloud, mobile presence, microservices, with platforms, like software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. The ask has become a highly scalable and secure platforms and applications and services that have global customers demanding zero downtime. The DevOps becoming the a new way of doing things, the new culture and mindset in many companies. Lot of companies are rethinking the business value of quality teams and how they need to put them in new roles, right? The role of a quality engineer in the traditional sense is going to go away. So what should the quality engineer do to build his or her career in the new scheme of things, right? What are the challenges and how to adapt to the changing landscape? What skills are needed and how to keep yourself marketable and valuable? This talk will address some of these issues and hopefully help provoke you to think and plan for your career. Now, having heard why you think knowing the changing landscape and opportunities is very important, I have one request of you. I would request you to watch this video along with your team, so that you can have a very creative and useful discussion. because the individual growth is not possible unless the team grows, and the opportunities and challenges that I'm going to talk about are all in the team and as part of your work, right? So it makes a lot of sense to watch this as a team, even though this is mostly focused on developers. Any Scrum team, any developer may also join. I would also request you to, leave a note at the end of the video after watching, to give me some feedback, so that going forward I can serve you better. So let's look at slide 1. So when the first question you see there is, when did I last think about my career? If I ask this question, most of us probably won't have an immediate answer. But if I ask you if you really value your career and want to grow it, the answer would be a resounding yes. But what have we done to actually grow the career? People talk about learning technologies. They talk about working on the latest technologies. They talk about position. They talk about these things. But if I sincerely ask, when did you last think about your career, I think I can really count people on my fingers who would have given serious thought to it. Right. Also, most of the time, when as the focal time nears, like the focal is coming up in the next 3 to 4 months, we start thinking what we have accomplished. We need to look good in the local, focal review, and we think about what we have accomplished or not accomplished, and see if there are gaps in what we have set out to achieve. So the career is mostly, is thought through as a short time span. Sometimes it's a few months. At best, it can be probably a year. If you and your manager have worked out a wonderful set of goals, then it's really awesome. But it's not so, right? For most of us. So when the focal process happens, we we get a raise or some promotion or some small reward, but I don't think most of us are very happy at the end of the focal review, and we think that the system is not designed well and is out to get us. But if we ask ourselves seriously, am I really interested in growing my career? It would lead to a lot of soul searching, right? So many times we think the manager is responsible to grow our career, many times. How many of you really think that the manager is responsible for your career? If you yourself are not clear what you want to achieve, it's very difficult to make your career grow. Let us look at the next question. What does career mean to me? This slide is the most important one because this will give you the direction and set you in the true north, set you to the true north, so that you every day that you spend at work, you are actually making small steps to improving your goal, achieving your goal. What does career mean to me, right? For some people it means titles, for some people it means travels, for some people it means position, for some it means money. But if you really ask deep questions, why you need all these, you may find it very difficult to answer these questions. So this this video should help you to at least answer some of those questions. So the next obvious question is, when will I grow in my career, right? You know that most of us are working for big companies, and these companies are running a business, and they are not running a charity show. So whatever we do, if it really helps to grow the business, then we have every opportunity to actually grow our career as well. But many times we wanted to work on something which is probably not even relevant to what is going on at work. Learning is one aspect of it. Learning is important to grow your career, but at the end of the day, that learning and knowledge and experience that you have, if it doesn't actually help the business to grow and be successful, it's not going to bring money back onto the table, and that means everybody is going to get affected by that. So the next obvious question is, okay, I should try and help to grow the business and make it successful. Then that will help me grow my career. The next obvious question is, what should I do to grow my career, right? That is the thing that we will talk about in the next slide. Now, if you look on slide 4, when will you grow your career? We already saw that we are here to help the business grow and be successful, right? So your career will grow if you become a critical and valuable resource for the organization, right? That is very important, because if somebody is not delivering value, then I don't know if the company wants to keep that person, even though the person may be very talented, right? What will make you a critical and valuable resource? That's the next obvious question, right? You will be a critical and valuable resource if you actually help the business to grow and be successful. If you make your team objectives, help the team achieve your objectives of the business, right? And so the next obvious question is, how can I help the business, right? And you can help the business when you actually bring quality to the table. So it's obvious from this slide that a lot of value can be bought if we bring quality to the business that we do. A lot of projects, die because there is no quality and the customers don't like them. So that makes it very important to. So looking at slide 5. The big question that this slide answers is, how can we bring quality to the table? We already saw that if we bring quality to the table, we are actually becoming a valuable and critical resource. So to bring value to the quality to the table, we need to understand the big picture and the role that you are playing in it, and the impact that your work is having on that. Many times, if I ask you what is your company's business strategy and vision, I doubt if I'll get a very good answer from you. Then the next obvious question is, if I ask what is the work that you are doing, why do you think it is valuable to business? Do you feel confident of giving an answer that will satisfy you before it satisfies others, right? So understanding this big picture actually sets you, and makes you follow true north which is very important. Many times people, they wonder why their manager is not giving taking cognizance of your work, because he doesn't know what you are working on, right? And many times it so goes, if I ask you what is one or two important things that you accomplished in the last 3 months, sometimes you may stop a while before you can and think before you can really answer that question. So understanding the big picture, that role that you play and the impact of your work in that big picture actually helps to you to feel continuously inspired and aligned, and every day you will actually come forward to work, because that is what is driving the energy and the inspiration in you. If once we understand that, then the next obvious thing to do is, if you break it down, the next obvious thing is to understand what are the challenges. I call them quality challenges. It doesn't mean that it is only a challenge for the quality engineer. The quality challenges applies to everyone across the board, right? But I will divide these challenges into 4 categories. Business and domain challenges. Do we really understand that? Software and technology challenges that we have, process challenges, last but not least, testing challenges that we face. If we understand these challenges, if we understand these the challenges in these different domains and convert them into opportunities, I can give it to you in writing that you will not only become the most valuable person and go-to person in the organization, but your career will take off in ways that you never dreamt of. So let's in the rest of the next few slides we'll talk about each of the challenges, the business challenges, the various challenges that I have listed here, so that it gives you a deeper idea about what I'm talking about and how you can think of these as opportunities. On this slide, we will talk about the business challenges and try to understand what we are dealing with. As you all know, domain knowledge for any domain, for example, is huge and complex. Think of an insurance domain or banking or payments industry or any technology intensive industry, right? I've given some examples in the slide. These are very complex domains. We may be very good programmers, developers, but if we don't understand the domain, I don't think we can do a good job in designing and testing solutions for these complex domains, right? Add to these, the legal compliance, tax compliance, and finance and audit regulations that one has to comply. It becomes it becomes immediately clear that we are dealing with a huge beast here in each domain. So a single use case which can spawn across many subsystems and can be very complex. How do we actually master a domain? If you are offered a job in a new domain, what would you say? Would you say, hey, I have never worked in that domain, I don't think I will be successful, I would be a fit there, or just would that be our knee-jerk reaction, or do we feel confident that we can deal with any new domain? So we have to think about how to master a domain, just like we master technologies and coding, testing. We also need to master the domain so that we can actually understand the competition. We can understand where which of our features are used most. We can challenge and collaborate better with our product managers. And if you do this in a very objective fashion, you could actually become a very good product manager. The other way of looking at it is if you come up with techniques to learn and master this domain, there is you would be easily able to take up a job in any other domain when the opportunity comes to you. Remember, as I said before, it's the domain being huge and complex. You cannot master it alone. So you need to adopt a divide and conquer methodology to the whole thing. And as a team, you should, come together and take pieces of the domain and stitch them together. You should even think about 3 or 4 of you getting together and writing a book on the business domain that you work. That my friends would actually not only enhance your career, but you would be considered as a important consultant in the business domain that you're working. And that will not only help you to deliver a grand product and engineering solution, but you will be a very valuable person for the business domain. So we saw, the challenges in the business domain and the opportunities to master it in the last slide. This slide, I'll talk about the software and technology challenges that we face. Today, there is no more a concept of a simple software, right? Those days are gone. Software has become a very complex and there is stack of technologies and services, right? There are no very independent applications. Every application talks to several other applications or services, and mix that with the legacy applications that bring us money, and they are huge. Many times they are monolithic in nature, and that adds a lot of complexity to the whole thing. Think about the software integration challenges, the third-party integrations that need to happen. The distributed nature of software is a real challenge that we face today. That to achieve and deliver one simple user story, business use case scenario, it takes several components and services to actually collaborate and deliver that functionality. So software as a service, platform as a service have become the norm, right? And to top it, just think that your application running on thousands and thousands of devices, different kinds of browsers, different versions of the browsers, different operating systems, like Android, iOS, Linux, Windows, Solaris. This and the various versions of these, it is at once apparent that we are dealing with a very complex situation here. How is it possible that you can test all these services and applications on all these different platforms? Do you see the complexity of what I'm talking about? Is it even possible to get your hands around and make a delivery? And think about an application which has to run on several devices and be and let us take an example of a mobile. Right, my mobile has about 60-70 applications running on it. How will your application run in a very reliable and performant manner alongside the rest of the applications? How do you test for that? How do you make the software should be highly scalable, it should be reliable, and it should be available all the time. If you access an application and it's not available, I don't think the customer is going to come back, right? And to top this, we need to make frequent releases. What is frequent releases? It is somebody wants to make releases every 2 weeks, somebody wants to make every week. There are people who are asking for daily releases. Companies want to make daily releases. So if you look at this whole gamut of the complexity that is involved in the software and technology stack, you can understand at once that it is no easy thing to grapple with. So will the traditional ways of testing and designing and developing software, will it suffice? We need to think along these new lines. These are the new age challenges of software. Can we develop software which can monitor itself, which can recover and repair itself, which can notify us in timely manner, and even if it degrades gracefully. We need to build self-healing software. So these are the challenges as of the new age, and we should think how we can actually prepare for this journey and make this a huge opportunity for ourselves. On slide 8, I would like to present the process challenges. For many of us, a process seems to be not well understood and appreciated. Many of us think it is an overhead, but if you ask me honestly, every program that we build, every application you build is actually automating a process, right? For example, a banking application helps in banking, in doing transaction, doing money movement, and it does that consistently every time. So for me, a process is that which is reliable, and success is guaranteed when you actually follow the steps in the process, right? So that is the big side of the process definition. So in this slide, I'm mostly going to restrict myself to the Agile process challenges, because Agile is the new way of doing things, and unless we master and really understand, we will not be successful in dealing with the complex software and technology challenges that we saw in the previous slide, right? So where is this need for Agile adoption coming from, right? Today, if you look, there are a lot of startups coming which are actually challenging the well-established corporate players and taking them over like a storm. How is this possible in a lean startup? The idea is given importance, and there is a great sense of ownership of the outcome, right? And speed and efficiency becomes very critical. So if the big companies, the big players have to succeed in this kind of environment, they need to adapt as well. So that's how Agile is become the way to go. If you add innovation and Agile together, you get a terrific combination which will help you to beat the competition, right? So what is the other great thing about a startup, right? In a startup, there are no fixed roles, there are no boundaries, right? The same engineer who designs also writes code. The guy who writes code can also test, he can deploy, and if required, he can actually take a customer call support and help fix a customer issue and the issue in the field, right? the guy, any person coming in who opens the shop, there may be a different guy who actually stays back and closes the shop at night. So this sense of accountability, right? This sense of accountability of the outcome and working in a boundaryless fashion and playing whatever roles, that is required to make our mission successful is very critical in the agile world as well. This you should think of, how am I a developer? Can I play only a developer role? Can I play a tester role? Can a tester go fix? If there is an issue in the environment, do you call your ops engineer, or would you actually go into the environment and actually fix it, right? There are many times issues. Hey, I don't know what happened to the environment. Yesterday it was working fine. Somebody seems to have, the web server is not even starting up. So do you wait for somebody else to come and fix it, or will you jump right in and actually find out what is causing the web server not to start, right? This is the mindset. So the rotation of roles has to come very naturally. That ability to play different roles, and that is the key to success. The other important thing in the agile process is to given the complexity of software and the huge nature of it, incremental nature of requirements, design, coding, testing, and incorporating feedback, right? All this had to be so small and controlled that at any point you are in complete control of the quality of what goes in, right? The small user story that you put in should not bring down the entire system, right? This, if you are not able to do this in a repeatable fashion, right? That's the process, a repeatable fashion. Then that means we have failed in adoption of agile. So that is another important process challenge. At the end of the sprint, we have the ability as a team. We should question: do we have the ability to make a decision whether to integrate the code or just toss it out of the window? Because that is a small piece of work. Maybe it doesn't fit in the big scheme of things. Maybe we found a design error at a later point. As a team, we are responsible for ensuring that we are integrating continuous quality code into the product, right? This is the thing that needs to also be developed as part of the process mindset. So as you see, there is a continuous overlap of functions, right? There are no fixed. I feel there will be a time in a couple of years where the traditional roles and titles will actually go, and they will just ask you whether you are a very competent Scrum team member or not. That will be the only test, I feel, and interview process will try to analyze it, assess you for that, right? The other most important thing is, the regression for any software is the most challenging part. What it means is, are we disciplined enough in our design, testing, coding to ensure whatever incremental small change we have put, that it has not caused any regression issues, right? So for that, we need to ensure that the regression time actually is very small. That is possible only when we are able to implement a reliable enabling process like continuous integration and continuous deployment, which should eventually lead to a continuous delivery. Unit testing, automation, and even non-functional pipelines like performance pipeline and security pipeline must be a well-established and reliable process, so that as the deployment goes through and gets tested, you know that you have not introduced any new bugs. So this is another thing that needs to be internalized and achieved. Otherwise, we will be spending time on other things instead of actually focusing on the user story at hand. Add to this test-driven development. You write, I know most of you probably have heard this term, and probably some of you are following as well. Test-driven development basically you write the test first and code later. If the test fails because there is no code to actually deliver that function, and as you develop write the code and the test passes, then you actually know that you have developed the right code because the test has passed. So designing the right test upfront and then writing the code in, to make that test pass, this will bring in a lot of quality. So again, this is a process. This needs to get into the DNA of the team. So all this, if you see, is leading to a DevOps and mindset and culture. This is the new way of doing things. This is how it's going to go. So if you look at this, if you put all the slides together, challenges together, the process challenge stands out as probably one of the most important and critical one for the success of the team. So how do we solve this process challenge? The only way is by process automation, right? So if we take up the challenge of process automation and have reliable processes and we adhere to them, then our productivity goes up, and small incremental changes don't cause risk to quality of what we deliver. Hi. In the previous slide, we talked about the process challenges, and hopefully all of us appreciate the importance of process and the need to automate that. In this slide 9, we will talk about challenges in the testing space. This space is close to our heart because we have spent most of our time in here. The ability to write effective user stories can be appreciated only when there are very good user acceptance tests, right? Can we write good acceptance tests and that will make sure that the user story is well defined and is crisp and small enough to be delivered in this story, right? Like I talked before, test-driven development is a very important process. A lot of companies have started adopting this. I would like to add to this what I would like to call as automation-driven testing, right? As the code is being written for the user story, we also write the code that will actually test it, right? This automation. So at the end of when the code is ready, the automation is also ready to test it. This would bring in a lot of efficiencies. But what it means is there is a need to start thinking on how to do it. We need to take this as an opportunity as well as a challenge. Also, as I said before, in the Agile process, we have small user stories going in, but we are still doing testing of the full software, right? Can we actually do scoped testing based upon the user stories that have gone in? Do we understand how the couple of user stories that are going in actually affect which components, and restrict our test only to that? If, let us say, the components A, B, D are not affected at all, but only C, E, and F are affected by the user story, then our testing must be able to take the risk of only testing C, E, and F and say that we are good to go. That is what I say, scope-based testing. Also, this also involves risk-based testing, because we are consciously taking a risk and saying that this component is not interacting with the other components. This is not calling the other services so we take, knowing fully well how the systems interact and how they are integrated, we take calculated risks and do the testing, because 100% testing is not realistic or possible anymore, right? The other thing that can help us is to do metrics-based testing. What I'm not talking about the regular metrics where you at the end of the testing cycle, we publish a bunch of data. This metrics should help us actually decide what kind of testing we should do. I'll take a couple of examples. Profiling. We should do profiling of our product and see which part of the product is actually being used most, right? Here the 80-20 rule is applicable very much. 80 or 85% of the time, only 15 or 20% of the product is used, right? If you have used an IDE, even the best developers use only 10 or at the most 15 features in Eclipse IDE. But Eclipse, as you know, has hundreds of features. So why don't we actually focus on testing that's 15 or 20% and also enhance only those 10 or 15 features which are being used, so that you can actually create an awesome experience for your customer, right? This should be the mindset. This is what I mean by metrics-based testing. We should know, do we actually know what our customers are using, which features are being used, which are not being used, right? Similarly, code coverage and test coverage. If you know your code coverage and test coverage, they are good in areas. You can cover areas which are not there. You can find, you know which components are getting frequently changed and where bugs are being reported more often. Which developer is putting in the code. By understanding this, you can actually focus your testing efforts in those areas and find real bugs, as opposed to testing the entire system and where there are no issues. So that is one thing. And we, as I said, we already have a continuous integration pipeline where unit tests, regression tests, performance tests, etc. running. Are we actually using that data to help us make meaningful decisions about testing, right? So this is what I mean by using data to actually help us to make the right decisions for the amount of testing, amount of risk we can take, the areas we need to test, right? Kindly think over this and try to implement this in your teams. The services testing, today almost every application uses a bunch of services. How should we test? What is the innovation we can bring in testing? Our services calls 4 or 5 other services. What happens if these other services are not available? How does the system behave? What happens if the response is slow, or there are very important questions and there is a need for innovation. We should think about that. And end-to-end testing and integration testing is probably the biggest challenge today in this complex software systems, which have multitudes of components and services which interact. Can we actually automate, right? Can we come up with tests? I can recall, when I used to go to the doctor a few years back, the doctor would just check the pulse and my lungs he would check and my heartbeat, and he would tell me right then and there whether I have any problem and what is the symptom and how he is going to treat. Today we run, we are asked to run to the diagnostic lab and hundreds of tests are performed and thousands of rupees are taken, but the outcome is, they simply say, you seem to be all right. In a similar way, we run thousands of tests, and if it is not giving you any idea about the health of our product, it is meaningless. So we have to identify those tests which, the doctors earlier were able to say with 95% accuracy or more that the system is good to integrate, good and actually with less testing we can actually go into production. So that kind of thinking needs to happen. A lot of non-functional testing is there, which can be automated either in performance, security, or scalability testing. Can we sit and discuss about testability of our product. Can we put hooks in and diagnostics in the product which will help us to discover problems early, right? There are many applications where which write to the disk, and when the disk becomes slow, the entire application comes to a grinding halt. This is a routine thing, for example, which can be easily fixed. Can we base our testing based on real data and real usage? Can we get everybody, the PM, the customer, and developer, and everybody in the team to actually test and give us more meaningful data, right? So these are the opportunities and challenges in the testing space, and we need to think about testing in new ways given the complex software that we need to test. Now, in the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about how we have been doing our traditional testing, right? The unit tests, it is an inverted triangle, as you can see. Small number of unit tests, component API or service integration tests are probably very few or not there at all, and application GUI tests have been the main way of doing the testing. So the entire stack which the application UI calls is getting tested at the UI layer, and any problem found, you can see how the entire stack needs to be actually validated to see where the bug is. This is a very inefficient way of doing, and to top it, end-to-end tests, which have been mostly manual, and user acceptance tests have been taking the longest time. So as you see from the arrows, the time, the cost, and complexity of testing actually increases enormously because of this inverted nature of the triangle and the test that we do. So how is the new age test to be done? You just invert the triangle, right? The maximum testing happens from the lowest level upwards. Unit tests are, coverage is probably 80% or close to, maybe sometimes even 100%. Then there are component tests which certify that the components and services are well tested. Then there is an integration test among the services and components which give you a much higher level of confidence. And as you go to the application and GUI layer, you are pretty confident that the stack below is entirely of very high quality. So the time, as you see, is also coming down as we build the quality at the lower layers. This is what is very important. And end-to-end tests and user acceptance tests also become very small. If we are able to automate right all the way from unit tests to the user acceptance tests, user acceptance tests are generally run by the user, but as engineers, why can't we understand what they are testing and automate them, right? So even before you give to the users, the last few rounds of user acceptance tests which were run have been automated, and that gives a good way to save time and give a better quality to the users for testing. So with this, what happens is that with a high automation level at every all the lower levels, the regression time is almost eliminated or brought down to minimum because of the pipeline, CI pipeline and continuous testing that happens. And this is possible only when this is possible. The Agile and DevOps process, we can say, are actually being helpful and productive to the team and making them more efficient, productive, and able to deliver high quality code. So I hope you can see on the left the traditional way of doing things, and on the right triangle how the complexity has been controlled. So this is the approach. So if these are the challenges in the testing space, now I will talk about what is required to actually in the subsequent slide. We talked about software and technology challenges, and we talked about process challenges, then we talked about challenges in the testing space. Now uh, what is required to actually understand and solve for these challenges and convert them to opportunities. In this slide, I will talk about the change in mindset that is required to actually, meet these challenges. This slide 12 that you see here is about that. I will go over the points. Metrics-driven testing, right? Risk-based testing and innovation testing. I talked about metrics-based testing in the previous slide. Use metrics as a tool that will help you to decide what needs to be tested, what is the scope that is to be tested, what is the risk that we are taking. Can we actually publish a risk-based testing strategy? Can we make the testing more innovative? How do we test interconnected systems? Can we build mock services? Can we build metrics into the system which can help us give this continuously, right? We also saw that testing everything is impossible. So how do we do incremental testing? How do we we also, the development is also incremental. We cannot do a big bang development anymore, right? Given the complexity of software and the agile process that we follow. Can we use the process to help our testing? We talked about agile process. We talked about this CI, having reliable and dependable CI pipeline, which will help us to make sure that there is no regression, either in unit tests or in regression tests or in performance and non-functional tests. Can we think about testing a testable product as opposed to a testable build, right? When, like I said, the doctor's example, just feeling the pulse and the heartbeat and the lungs, the doctor can say that you are definitely 90% fit and there is nothing to worry. That is a testable and usable product, right? This calls for a change in mindset to go beyond the traditional QE role. If you draw yourself a small circle and call yourself a quality engineer, it will be a big limiting factor. So there is a need for this change in mindset. We need to go beyond the customary quality engineer role. We need to develop deep customer empathy, deep empathy for the customer, the product manager, the developer, other testers, right, and also the customer. Unless we understand each of these roles and what they bring, we will not be able to benefit from them. And that is another important thing to develop. And as a team, as a Scrum team, everyone should own the quality of the product. Everyone should be testing. The quality is not just owned by the quality engineer. And we also understand the quality is everywhere, right? It is in all phases. It is in requirements. It is in design. It is in code. It is in testing. It is in deployment. It is in customer usage, right? Everywhere there is quality, and we need to wear the quality hat all the time. If a user story is not well written, there is a problem with the quality in requirement stage itself, right? The other most important point which I want to draw your attention to is, as a quality engineer, you don't, in a Scrum team, you no longer certify the product for the release. You provide a quality assessment. Kindly understand this concept a little deeply. Because you are a subject matter expert in testing and you understand the various components and system and how they are connected. You provide an assessment of the quality to the Scrum team, and you will together, since the quality is owned by the Scrum team, you will together decide whether the product is ready to be pushed into production. As do we all own the outcome of the sprint and feel confident that this can be pushed into production. So the certification word goes out of the window, and you provide assessment, and the team makes the go no go decision. So that will eventually, this will lead to a DevOps culture and mindset where you start playing all the roles across the board. When I say you mean all the Scrum team members, including you, will operate in a boundaryless fashion, and this is the new mindset that is called for that, right? So I hope you got a good understanding of the need for the change in mindset that is required to meet the challenges that we talked so far. In the previous slide, I hope you appreciated the need for the change in mindset to meet the new set of challenges that we are facing. On slide 13, I'm going to talk about what qualities we need to develop for developing the new mindset. This is probably one of the most important slides in the deck, right? This is also kind of a summary of what is required to get there, right? We talked about understanding the big picture, right? It's very important so that you continuously feel inspired and you are moving true north, both for the business sake and for your career. Be curious, learn fast, and be like a sponge, right? Being in an agile world, the importance of being curious and learning fast cannot be overemphasized. Be bold, be bold and call out the risk. It's okay if the risk you call out is not a risk or can be de-risked, but not calling out is actually a bad thing. So be bold and call out the risk. Many of us think we have done everything and we are pretty good, but I would suggest, but I can say for sure, right? Every one of us has our own blind spots. It's very important that you get a mentor, either in your team or in another team. Either it can be your manager or somebody else, but definitely get a mentor. This mentor will help you to develop you both as an engineer as well as your all-round personality. So develop good networking and communication skills. This is not to so that others overlook your quality of work. It is to build a professional relationship where, as a team, we can raise the bar on each one of us and actually deliver at a higher level. And in the same vein, we have to build a strong win-win relationship with everyone across the board, so that when we come together as a team, we 1 + 1 is not -1 or 0, but it should be more than 2 or 3, right? That's the most important thing about being a team. The team success is above your personal success. The day you think about the team more than yourself, your career is going to take off, because you will be the most sought after person. You will become the subject matter expert, and people will come to you for when they face a problem to discuss with you and get your inputs, right? For that, you should place the team success much higher than your personal success, and that is by definition your success as well. Like I said, in the startup, we are trying to emulate the same environment in the corporate through the agile process and innovation. So a sense of total ownership of the outcome is extremely important, right? If you are doing a function at our home, like let us say the, the wedding of a brother or a sister, we don't say, hey, the inviting guests is your problem, or taking care of the reception is somebody else's problem. We give our heart and soul to actually in all the departments, whatever it may be, to make the function a grand success. That is the same self that we need to bring to our work as well. Another important thing is we cannot do everything, so influencing others towards the right set of ideas and strategy and building strong partnerships will help, because you cannot bring all the bricks required to construct a thing. Everybody needs to contribute. So develop good influencing and partnership skills, right? More than anything, this boundaryless behavior is very critical in a Scrum team. That means you put on whatever hat is required, either a developer or a tester or a ops person or a Scrum master or or a product owner, right? So feel empowered. Don't feel that you are stepping into somebody else's shoes. If it is done with the right intent and not to grab credit, I am sure it will be welcomed and people will respect you for that. And become the voice of quality, right? Don't be the quality certification. Be the voice of quality. When people hear you, they should understand the concerns about quality, the quality of the product that we are delivering, and you will be the voice of the customer, and that is a big value that comes mostly from the domain challenges that we will be solving. That we even as a team we cannot test everything, and so learning to prioritize what needs to be tested and using the data to actually help what needs to be tested and what risks need to be taken is very important. What testing can be eliminated? Every developer should think of what code can be eliminated, and every tester should think what testing can be eliminated, because all the code that accumulates, all the tests that accumulate over time become cobwebs and lose their relevance and value. Tests need to be testing a product is a very creative activity, and test needs to be continuously relevant and useful to ensure that the product quality is always high. We have talked about so many of these challenges, and as a team, discuss with among yourself, discuss with your manager, identify a couple of challenges and that you want to actually address in your team in the next 1 quarter, and convert them to your opportunities. This, I hope, gives you a good picture of the qualities that you need to actually develop to that, so that enables you to create the mindset that will help you to actually meet the challenges we've talked so far. We talked about challenges, we talked about the mindset that is required, and also the qualities that are required to develop that mindset. When you do that and take up a couple of challenges and solve, I'll tell you, you will see the value that you bring to the table. People will see the value that you bring to the table. You will become more strategic and less tactical, right? Managers need to think a lot about this as well. Just doing things tactically will take you nowhere, take the team nor the product anywhere. So this will help you to actually become more strategic. You would be able to articulate the quality strategy and testing strategy. How many times you have actually explained to your team what is the quality testing strategy that you are putting forth for this particular release, right? You will be able to provide quality assessment. You will be able to articulate risk to the quality and risk to the release. You will become a customer advocate, and you, my friend, you will become the voice of quality. So you see how you are increasing the value that you are bringing to the table more and more day by day. And I am telling you, you will feel so enriched. The team will feel so engaged, and that the kick that you get out of this will be much better than a bottle of champagne can give you. So we talked about the challenges. We talked about the mindset and the qualities that required to develop that mindset, and then we talked about what will happen when how you bring value to the table. Now, the other important aspect which we often forget is there are often hurdles in the path to get there, right? These are the blocks that we need to overcome. In this slide 15, I'm going to talk about the myths and hurdles in my path that to make my career take off, right? So the first one, I am a critical resource. My job is secure. Many of us do this, think that the work I'm doing that nobody else in the team can do. I have written code that nobody can understand. My test scripts are so difficult that except me, nobody can maintain them. We think our job is secure. My friends, this is by far one of the worst myths that pull you down in your career. Kindly don't think of becoming a critical resource. I am a functional tester or manual tester. I can't code or automate, right? These days, 8th graders, 10th graders are started coding, right? You have passed out along with the other your developers or others from the same universities and with the same grades. This idea that you can only do manual testing and you cannot automate is another big myth that you yourself feed and keep it alive. I can do only testing. I can't debug. I can't debug the code or fix the environment. I can't fix. Hello. This is what we talked about throughout. This is about ability to play any role, right? You start small. I'm not saying you start designing big things on day one, but once you start getting your hands dirty, you will be able to develop skills that is required. The other very familiar thing is to say is, hey, it's not my job. The product was deployed to the environment. It is not working, so it's a DevOps guy or the developer who should actually debug. Once they get everything working, I will test and certify, right? How can I learn a new business domain? It's so complex. It's a new technology. If it is Selenium WebDriver, I'm very comfortable. I can automate anything. How do I learn something called Appium? It is so new and it's so scary. I can't learn a new technology. I can't work in the mobile space. I can't work in, I've been used to the insurance domain. How can I work in banking domain, right? It's a new role. If somebody asks you to be a Scrum Master and your knee-jerk reaction is, hey, I have never played that role. If you really ask me, Scrum Masters are born. They are not made. They are made right in mother's womb and they come out as Scrum Masters. These are the myths that we continue to develop. The other fear is, what if I fail? What happens? Oh, the world will come to an end. So let's not try anything new. Only a developer can file patents or innovate. My friends, I can tell you, I have developed very strong teams in Yahoo and Intuit. and white box engineering teams where engineers filed several patents and published several papers and went to many conferences and talked about their work. So we are the ones who put a limit to ourselves. I will retire as a quality engineer or manager. I think this role is going to be there forever, right? My title defines who I am. This is one of the biggest, limiting factors. Sadly, in the human race, we have so many labels which restrict us. I'm a man. I'm a woman. I can't do. The race is a label, that is a label, I'm a developer is a label, I'm a quality guy is a label, I'm a manager is a, so all these labels in one way or the other actually limit us. So if we want to play exhibit a boundaryless behavior, we should move off the titles. And I can tell you, my friends, that the quality engineer, as we know and understand today, it is a fast disappearing role. If we don't change our mindset and develop the right qualities, we will become extinct very fast. So adapting and not being limited by titles is very important. These are a few things that I have added as myths and hurdles in our path. But you can continue to add to this, discuss as a team, and talk about your fears. That way you can also find ways to overcome them. So we talked about myths and hurdles, which I think we should be very much aware, so that the awareness itself actually removes many of the hurdles and we can move forward in our career. So I am putting back the slide with which I started. When will you grow in your career? That's the slide you see again here. When your career will grow, when you become a critical and valuable resource. What will make you a critical and valuable resource? We saw what we need to do, how we can help the business, and we said that when we bring quality to table, and how do we bring quality to table? We talked about challenges in the business domain, technology and software domain, in the process domain, in the testing domain, and also we talked about the mindset. And so by this time, probably you would have got a fairly good idea that there are plenty of challenges and opportunities to grow your career. This slide is just to bring you back the full circle to so that we stay on track on what we wanted to achieve in this talk. When you bring quality to the table, what happens, right? You will become the most valuable resource in the team and the org. Right? You are the go-to person in the team. People want to come and discuss with you ideas. They want to discuss their problems. You grow tremendously in the value chain. And believe me, my friends, your career will grow beyond expectations. So I hope you got a good idea about the purpose of this talk, and especially given that the landscape is changing so fast, and the most affected person in the whole picture is the quality engineer, and it's very important to quickly realize and adapt to the changing landscape so that you can reinvent yourself. Now, before I end, I want to give you a couple of very important inputs which you will find very useful at any point in life. The secret to being young and successful. Everybody wants this secret. What is this? You see here, there are three circles: the red circle, the yellow, and the green circle. The green circle is where we are, what I call the comfort zone. We are, most of us are here. We know what we do day in and day out. If I ask you to test a particular feature, even in your sleep, you can push the buttons and the script will run. This is what we do. And then you have the yellow zone, or what I call the stretch or growth zone. Here, you actually try things that you have not tried before. You come up with new strategies, you pick up a couple of challenges and you work on it. People in this yellow zone who continuously put themselves in the yellow zone actually start growing. This whole talk is about being in that yellow zone. And if we are in green zone, the green zone will start shrinking so small that one day we will totally disappear. The other extreme is the panic zone, red, where we are trying to do the impossible. I don't know how many of us would be ready to jump from a flying jet at 30,000 feet and feel thrilled about that. I'm sure people do that, but not many of us. But so you don't do something very extreme that puts you in a panic zone. That is against the laws of nature. So always make sure that you are aware of the yellow zone and you have something cut out to this. Is like going to the gym and stretching every day. It keeps you fit and ready, fit to pick up new challenges and grow. So this is the secret to being young and successful. I have one more slide. This talks to, this is the secret to work-life balance and time management, right? There are so many things, and most of us are often complaining about lack of time and not having enough time to do the things that we want to do. Here also, again, I have 3 circles. The green circle is in the middle is what I call the circle of control. The yellow circle is the circle of influence, and the third circle is gray and don't care circle. Here, I'll explain what I mean by the green circle of control. Here, things are things that are within your control, where like you write your test scripts, or you know your product well, and you can do whatever it takes to get things done. The next is that your success just doesn't depend on what you do, but how you work with the team and how you influence them and how you cooperate and collaborate to achieve bigger things. That is the circle of influence. The more the circle of influence grows, your career will also grow accordingly. The reason today that a junior engineer doesn't go to a senior engineer for discussing any problem or discussion is because the seniors haven't earned probably the senior hasn't earned the respect of the juniors by influencing them, by helping them to grow, right? So if there is any problem, we probably will just Google it out and including the script and the code and just stick it in and somehow make it work. This is basically a patchwork and shows that we are not working as a team and we are not exploiting the benefits of being a team. We are not leveraging each other. We are not building upon our ideas. There is so much to do and accomplish that only a team can do. There are no individual can be successful without the team being successful. That's why the circle of influence, is very important. And as the circle of influence grows, your influence grows beyond your team to other teams. People from other teams start coming to you for consultation and help. The one great example, there are many examples. One simple example which probably you can all relate to is, Modi. Modi was the chief minister of Gujarat, right? But he worked pretty hard and he increased his influence. And now you see that his influence has spread from Gujarat to all over the country. Even people in other countries know Modi and they want to welcome him to their country, So that is how the yellow circle for Modi has grown. This applies to each one of us, right? This is just an example. I mean, there are so many great folks who do that, but that doesn't happen overnight. It's a lifelong effort. So continue to grow your circle of influence. And the third one, my friends, is is great, but it's very important. This is the one where we need to understand where our energies are getting wasted, where our time is getting wasted. I can give you examples where we spend time on, in gossip or probably, chatting without anything productive. Or you could be talking about a catastrophe or disaster in some part of the world, or something great that happened somewhere in the world. But even though you may be sympathetic to that disaster, there is nothing that you can do about it. But we go on talking. If you really want to help somebody, just write out a check or make a donation and just move on, right? So lot of time gets wasted in the gray circle. So this is the smaller the gray circle is for all of us, I think the more efficient and productive we become, and all the time gets spent in the green and yellow circles. And that is the secret to having a work-life balance. You can spend time with your family, you can spend time at work doing the things that are important. So this is one slide, I think, which will give you some tips into how to have work-life balance and manage your time, which I think is a very important thing. Last but not least, this talk is dedicated to the human spirit that reinvents itself and evolves even under the most adverse conditions and challenging conditions, and makes every challenge an opportunity to grow and evolve into a better human being. I hope you feel that you are in control of your career now, and you can actually grow your career. I hope you can make use of the challenges and opportunities that your work offers, and the biggest myth that you need to overcome is not believing in yourself. Once this hurdle is crossed, you will find many roles waiting for you, and my friends, there is a bright future waiting for you. Like I said in the beginning, I would really appreciate if you can take a moment to give feedback, and also I hope you watched this as a team, and there are creative juices flowing through the discussions that you are having, and I wish you all a wonderful career ahead. And you have my LinkedIn profile and email ID. You can feel free to write to me either your questions or your feedback. Thank you very much for watching. Much appreciate your time. Thank you.